Hello. Today I will be reading the story of my own creation as my special talent. The Will of the Worm, written and narrated by yours truly, Bjorn Vik, aka the Bjorn Dog, 1997. Note, this is an anthro insect story. If you don't like that, GTFO! I don't want to see any hate comments on this e-transmission or vandalism done to any physical copies of my novel. I'm looking at you right there. I will not tolerate it, okay? Okay? Fucking God. With that being said, let's start the story. Chapter 1. School ain't cool! Students of all shapes, sizes, breeds, brundles, gauges, and girths made their way down the shimmering path of sodden soil. A path not to a place, mind you, but a path to enlightenment. School! Students who possessed the privilege of flight, like Wendy the Wasp, the most popular and socially valued student this school hath ever seen, flew above all the cretins down below. Her absolute fucking hunk of a boyfriend, Cory the Cockroach, followed not too far behind. Bet you didn't know that cockroaches could fly, did you, huh? This is why you should read the Encyclopedia Britannia, fucking idiot. Sorry. That was uncalled for. Much lower on the high school social leaderboard, but still relatively somewhat relevant, were the creepy crawly types who looked up to the flying fucks from down below and daydreamed of having the same insane amount of TikTok clout as them. A dream to distract them from the mundane commute of scurrying across the dirt on 6, 8, or even 100 legs. At the absolute bottom of the school fuckwit tier list, though, would have to be the pill bugs. Stupid-ass, tiny little isopod things that understood their destitute place in the world, and whose only hope was to do real good in school and one day get a career in computer science. Their method of locomotion was rolling forward continuously in a ball form like a sentient meat tire. But there was just one more creature lower than the roly-polies. The lowest of the low, more of a loser than any other life form on school premises. William L. Wormson was the wormiest worm to ever worm. Honestly, the kind of slime you'd think only exists as a hyperbolic caricature in some kind of crack ship fanfic troll pasta shitpost, but really was the real deal. Living proof that the trope of an omni-loser archetype is more than the myth. It's real. It's fucking real. Not even a full worm. Willie was accidentally bisected in a bicycle accident when he was only 1 day old. His little worm legs got tangled in the chain, and let's just say he didn't get out of that jam in one piece. No. Being half a worm, Willie wriggled to school slower than molasses crawling up a steep hill. His bro, Lil Will, following not too far behind. Note, while it is acknowledged that a worm bisected horizontally will not grow into two separate worms, since only one end has a brain, William was split vertically, and thus each side of him became a separate worm identity with different personality traits and RPG-esque stats entirely. After 3 hours of wriggling on over to school... Don't leave any comments about that. That didn't happen. Willie and Lil Will finally made it up to the front door and went with their only friends, the Pill Triplets. Phil, Gil, and Jill. The Pill Triplets. Don't leave any comments about that. Phil, Gil, and Jill. Sup, bro? Took you long enough, slowpoke, said Phil and Gil simultaneously in perfect harmony. How many times have I told you guys I can't help it if I was born a worm? Fuck! Willie replied, or rather, wormplied. Jill, the female pill bug, could only blush in response to Willie's ramblings, which in her mind were equivalent to some of the greatest poems ever written. Jill was the only one who truly understood Willie's non-traditionally genius mind. She hoped that one day maybe he could come to see the light, and they could live together inside a sticky Coca-Cola can. Coca-Cola. But Willie had other ambitions. As stupid, ugly, gross, idiotic, disgusting, shallow, stupid, and ugly that he was, somehow Willie still held on to the idea that he had a chance with the ever so out of his league Wendy the Wasp. He looked up in the sky and caught a brief glimpse of Wendy flying through the school main entrance, accidentally upskirting her and seeing the outline of her abdominal segments. Chocolate milk shot out at Willie's nose at high velocity, much to his own embarrassment, and everyone in a screaming distance took notice, including Wendy, who looked right down at him and clicked her mandibles together 3 times, which is the wasp version of physically cringing. Worst of all, though, was that her boy toy, Cory the cockroach, had started stomping over on his hind legs. Oh boy, you're really in for it now, numbskull. He's gone bipedal, he means business. Phil and Gil said together as Cory the cockroach climbed onto Willie's back.
You looked upon my queen. Nobody looks at my girl. Especially not slime like you.
Cory started.
You'd better be ready for the ultimate bludgeoning of your short, pathetic life.
Willie cartoonishly gulped and released his bowels, making Cory even more pissed off. The beating was short-lived. A couple slaps and jabs crushed Willie's spirit, followed by a mega bonk to the head, which literally crushed his face in, making a truly macabre indent. A truly macabre indent, like something out of an early internet shock site picture. Being a squishy worm, though, Willie simply waited until he was released from captivity and blew into his thumb, inflating his head back to regular shape. His morning ritual of being humiliated and beaten was complete, but the rest of his stay still awaited. In math class, Willie was being lectured about the importance of numbers and how they should never be mixed with alphabetical letters, lest the natural order of things be twisted and perverted to create a truly, truly fucked up dark sorcery called letter math. But all he could think of was Wendy. In fact, his notebook wasn't full of equations or notes. It was entirely filled with crude doodles of Wendy in a kawaii anime style that kind of looked like if Lucky Star was drawn by a janitor with a crippled left hand. The math teacher saw this and swiftly threw a large mathematics book at Willie's already bruised brain. Later, Willie was in potions class, stirring a big old cauldron of souls. However, instead of tormented ghoul spirits, the only thing he saw in the mix was Wendy's beautiful giant black eyes looking back at him. He stared into the cauldron for 8 long seconds, and would have stared longer if he wasn't struck by a book thrown directly at his Adam's apple. Even though it was a magical, lightweight paperback book, it felt like he got hit by a brick. The reason for this being that the teacher had hollowed out said book and filled it with a brick just for this occasion. Finally, in cafeteria class, the students were learning proper lunch etiquette, though seemingly an unnecessary study to the ignorant. This class historically had been proven absolutely vital in keeping order and peace in society. Sure, maybe a little foolishness and horsing around is innocent enough at first, but countless examples from the past show that food fights always lead to food battles, which lead to food wars, and then eventually all-out food genocide. Being the big stupid dumb numbskull that Willie was, though, he wasn't paying attention at all. He stared deeply into his Alpha-Getty Alpha-Bits hybrid pasta cereal food bowl and fantasized about Wendy's stare. Several drops of drool started falling from his gaping maw, and within a few moments it had become a rushing waterfall of worm saliva. Several students comedically slipped on the newly sodden cafeteria floor, and lunch lady Broomhilda Beetleberg took notice. She grabbed a hefty meatball out of the spaghetti trough and put her years of shock butt to good use, spinning around and releasing at a high velocity towards Willie's weak body. As he lay there, groveling in a pool of his own spit and spaghetti, only one thing still remained on his mind.
I have to get her. I have to make her my GF.
Intermission. We gotta think about story so far. There's a fucking toy in here. Oh. Okay, where was I? Is this only chapter 1? Fuck. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty pooched right now. I'm just gonna, fuck it. I'm just gonna skip to the end. All right. After all of the pain, tears, bloodshed, and hardship, the nightmare was finally over. The abomination of eldritch horror brought to this world through a portal accidentally created by Phil and Gil was dead, and Willie could finally lay his dual-wielded steampunk pistol and scimitar combo down to rest. All of the months, not that I was gonna say months. That would be funny, kind of wondering, because bugs. All of the months of training and dedication were worth it. He was a new worm. All of the school staff and students started singing songs in his praise, uploading those songs to BugTube, and then remixing each other's songs and also uploading those remixes to BugTube. Wendy the Wasp, now recognizing Willie's place at the top of the fuck chain, took this opportunity to claim him as her new boyfriend. But as much as this was Willie's dream 7 months ago, things have changed. It just didn't seem right for him to choose the popular big-abdomened bimbo. To complete his character arc, he would have to go for the much humbler choice. Sorry about that. Editor, cut that out.
I can't be with you, Wendy. I just can't. I have to be with the one who I should have seen standing right in there in front of me the entire time. The one who has always been there by my side the entire time. The one who's both simultaneously standing right there in front of me and also by my side at the same time the entire time,
said Willie. Wendy harumphed and spat up in the air in pure anger. But Jill the Pillbug's eyes lit up in anticipation. Willie slowly walked towards the group of insects she was in, laid his hand on the back of her head, and gently moved her to the side so he could get to his worm brother, Lil Will. They kissed so hard that they reformed into one singular worm. The end.